Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to show you 4 ideal starting points for the ACD Unlimited Darwin FTW bass drum pedals. Now, when we talk about starting points, I'm actually talking about suggested setup kind of settings. With these or any other pedals, I would definitely recommend you take time to learn what each setting does and experiment to find what you do like and, more importantly, what you don't like in how your pedal feels. This is going to be 4 good starting points that you can then either use or adjust and tweak from there. Now, just a quick note about the beta adjustment through these videos. I am using the heavyweight and the regular surfaces from the dynamic beaters. Now, you might not have both, and if you don't, that's okay, because you can use the included removable beater weight that comes with your dynamic beaters. The reason I'm not doing it that way is because my personal preference is to have the dynamic beater without the weight. I like a really light feeling pedal. So if I want a heavier feel, I tend to go for the heavyweight surface instead of adding the beater weight. Now, the 4 setups that we're going to look at in this video are light and effortless, heavy and powerful, lightning fast and responsive, and then the 4th one is my personal settings, which is very much an all-rounder. It will let you cover pretty much everything that those other 3 will, but from the same setting. So let's have a look at the light and effortless pedal. Now, this setting is really designed for finesse. It's for people that like almost no spring tension at all, and they want the pedal to just be effortless to play. I've actually got the regular springs on, which are very light, and they are set as loose as they go before there's any kind of floppiness. Now, in terms of the cam, really what I want to do is create a very round cam type of feeling. So by angling this cam downwards, it removes the edge, and by closing the cam up, we're removing any of that eccentric cam type of edge. So this gives us a very smooth linear feeling to the pedal. In terms of beaters, what I've done here is gone back to the lightweight surface with no weight. That's going to give us a very light and easy feel. We're not really going to feel like we're throwing that beater around anywhere. And I've got it positioned in a nice kind of general angle. So this is on the 2nd notch back. Now, because I've closed the cam up and also angled it down, that's also dropped the footboard height quite a bit. So I've compensated for that by bringing the strap drive all the way as far as it goes towards the heel end of the foot plate. That's raised the footboard angle up, but again, to a nice comfortable level. It's by no means, a sharp and extreme angle. So let's have a look at the heavy powerful setting. Now, for this big powerful feel, the first thing I always do is go to the beater. So I've changed the angle and the weight. We're going to start with the weight. For this, I've added the heavyweight beater surface. Again, if you've got a normal dynamic beater and you only have the light surfaces, you can put the weight back in and you'll get something similar. Now, this is going to create more of a top heavy feel, which is going to add some swing and punch with the momentum of the stroke. Next, we have a look at the beater angle. Now, I've pulled the beater back quite a bit, so in terms of the markings, it's actually lining up with the last notch on the cam. Next, we have a look at the cam. To really help propel the beater into the drum, I'm going for an eccentric cam feel. In order to do that, what I've done is I've angled the cam slightly upwards. That's going to make it feel even more eccentric than it normally does. And I've then opened the cam up. Don't forget, these pedals have a split cam design. So I've opened it up so that the markings on the top of the cam line up with the last 2 markings on the bottom. Angling the cam up and then also opening it up has raised our footboard angle significantly. So I'm going to compensate for that by actually moving the strap towards the toe end all the way on the foot plate. That's going to lower the angle back down to what I consider to be a more sort of natural and comfortable position. Again, if you want more of that old school chain drive feel, you can either get the short boards and convert these pedals to short boards, or you can raise that angle back up, which is going to give you a heavier kind of feel under your foot, but probably a little bit more responsiveness as well. Now, in terms of spring tension, you really don't need that much with this pedal. Don't forget the spring on this pedal travels a lot further than other pedals because of the geometry of the spring adjustment itself. Now, because of that, I've only cranked up the springs halfway and we've still got the regular springs, not the heavy springs. That's still going to give you a ton of spring tension, especially with that increased beta throw that we've got. So that by the time you land on the drum, the springs are mega cranked and they're going to really help that beta to whip back fast. The next adjustment we're going to look at is the lightning fast and responsive setting. We'll start off with the cam. I've angled the cam upwards slightly to create more of an eccentric feel, and then I've opened it just a fraction. If you have a look at the markings here, it's not by any means fully open, but it's not shut either. That leads us onto the beta, where if we have a look, I'm obviously going to be going with the lightweight here because I want the pedal to be very fast to play, and the more weight we've got, the more effort that's going to be in order to sustain those speeds for a longer time. Now, if you look at the beta markings here, you can see that I'm actually on the 4th notch back. Now, that's much closer than I would generally play with the beta normally. But if you're playing really quick, much quicker than I do, the time it takes you to get to the drum kind of matters. So the closer you are, the quicker that stroke is going to be, which means it's going to be a lot easier to play very quick strokes, one after another. Now, after moving that beta so much closer to the bass drum, we kind of need to make up for that with some spring tension. So what I've done is I've put the heavyweight springs on here, and you can see I've cranked them. They're over halfway, which might not seem like that much of a big deal, but with these heavyweight springs, this is a seriously heavy amount of tension on that spring. Now, in terms of footboard height, I've actually lowered it down as much as possible. I've put the strap all the way forward into the footplate again, and that's for 2 reasons. The first one is because I've got more of an extreme angle on the cam, so I need to compensate because that's raised the footboard up. But it hasn't gone too high because I haven't opened the cam up. So the reason I've gone all the way forward is it gives you a much flatter footboard angle than normal. And that, combined with these being a longboard pedal, gives you a very light and fast feel. Okay, so now we're on to my setting. Now, as I said, this is to me just a great all-rounder. It lets me play as quick as I can, at least. It lets me play with some punch, and it lets me play with finesse. It's very easy to play, but very responsive. It's everything I want from a bass drum pedal. For me, this all starts with the beta. I've got the beta angle pulled all the way to the last notch. Now, this lets me get a good solid impact if I want, and it also lets me play with a lighter spring tension. To add to the lightness, I'm playing with the light regular beta surface here with no weights added. The next thing to have a look at here is the cam. You can see that I've got the camera open just a tiny bit. That's because I actually quite like the feel of an eccentric cam, but not that eccentric. In terms of the cam angle, it's probably around factory setting, but maybe raised up just a slight bit. My spring tension is pretty much bang on halfway, and this is with the regular springs. So it's a nice light tension, but with the added beta throw, by the time I get to the drum, that spring's really working, so it really helps to keep the pedal kind of glued to the underneath of my foot and bring it back nice and easy. Now, the footboard height, if you have a look at it here, it's easiest just to look at the markings, but basically it's around halfway, but slightly further towards the heel end of the footplate. As I said, this really is the perfect all-rounder. It lets me play any style of music I need to and feel comfortable doing it, which is really the main goal here. say it again because I can't stress this enough. These are not hard and fast rules. You shouldn't only set up your pedals this way, and it's okay if you set these up and you don't like the feel of any of them. The idea is to experiment and find out what works for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video at all, please like it, consider subscribing and hit the bell icon so you're told when I upload again. If you've got any comments on the video or anything you'd like to see in future videos, please leave me a comment down below and I'll see you soon.